Welcome into 11 Personnel presented by Monticello Bank. Nick Roush and Adam Luckett here with you in week 6. Is it 6?
It is.
Yeah.
Correct.
Early buys got my calendar thrown off a little bit. You won't ever get thrown off if you team up with Monticello Bank for all your banking needs, whether you just need a regular checking account or you're searching for a home, ready to make a big purchase, need to refinance your home, unlock home equity line of credit. Monticello Bank, let them be the bank for you. They've been in business for 125 years plus already? That's nuts. And they got 20 locations in 14 counties across Kentucky. Monticello Bank is right around the corner, and that's where people matter. So hurry on in. See them today at Monticello Bank or online at nbcbank.com. Monticello Bank, where people matter. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. Mr. Luckett, it's on to Georgia. You would ideally like to say a different team that you're on to, but it's on to Georgia. The Hey Georgia Bulldogs. They're not quite the usual Georgia Bulldogs, but they're still Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs, who are pretty damn good at the game of football. So things got ugly on Saturday, and probably not going to get much prettier this Saturday down in Athens.
Yeah, the opponent's Georgia this week, Nick. It's a typical Georgia team. They're going to look like a Georgia team, but right now it's mostly just about Kentucky. As I've taken a few days to kind of digest what happened in Columbia, go back and watch the film again. You know, we've heard Mark Stoops now post-game on the radio with Tom Leach, Monday press conference, Monday radio show to kind of unpack and try to read in between some of the lines here. And there's just a lot of red flags to me. This whole season was like the biggest box they had to check this whole season was winning one of those games, Ole Miss or South Carolina. And in both of those games, I think you felt like, specifically Ole Miss, there was some coaching issue with the, not being able to get lined up. And then just we heard about self-inflicted mistakes, how we made all these self-inflicted mistakes in this Ole Miss game.
Yeah, because what happened in the South Carolina game.
And then you go and play the South Carolina game, and it's kind of the same story in a lot of ways. Like, you turn the ball over 4 times in a quarter, you're not going to win a game, but Kentucky's defense did not play well either. Kentucky's offense only had 3 possessions in the second half. Like, even if they would have scored, they couldn't have come back because they didn't have enough possessions. So then you hear Mark Stoops talk in the postgame about, he brought up coaching a lot, right? Like, we've got to look at different things we're doing. And I think that should make you throw your hands up, because it's like, how did you not have this figured out yet? Like, going into this stretch.
And that was the continuity, the coaching.
That was the whole, right? That was the whole backbone of this entire thing was, get 50 new players. Coaching's fine. We're going to motivated, right? Grateful, whatever you wanted to say. That was the whole plan. And it just doesn't work. And it's just like, well, what are we even doing here? You worry about what the offense is going to look like, I think, on Saturday. The 2 touchdown or less streak extended. Cutter Boley started twice, and they've turned the ball over 9 times in 4 games and have allowed 3 defensive touchdowns in those games. Louisville had a scoop and score last year, and then you had another scoop and score and another pick six. Now, that scoop and score was a Jamarian Wilcox fumble in the Louisville game. But, like, you can't win like that, and it's just, you don't see answers. And then, Nick, it's eerily similar to me, some of this passing game stuff with the 2020 season. Got to go bunch formation because we can't get guys open. Guys are getting stuck on routes. You have a quarterback change like you did that year. The only difference is that team could absolutely run the piss out of the football. And this team, while improved and while doing some good, they're not Like that team, like that Kentucky team could have ran on some of these South Carolina fronts, even when they were loading the box. This team really can't, I think. And so it's just hard to envision how they found success. Statistically, they're the worst passing offense in college football, right?
Yeah.
And they were going into the press conference with Bush Hamden where he, kind of put his foot down and made a big, like a declarative statement.
It'll be a damn good offense.
And then it hasn't gotten really any better in these last couple of weeks. And it just leaves you scratching your head. It leaves you, feeling like it could get ugly. And now we're in, I think, the disaster scenario is in play.
To belabor the passing offense statistics, like if I say EPA and success rate, like, some of those it's hard to comprehend.
But they support the eye test.
Yeah, and it's also like they only have 2 passing touchdowns in 4 games. The military academies have more passing touchdowns. They have 3, Navy and Army, and then check Air Force's numbers. There's only 2 teams that have less than 2 touchdown passes, and it's Northern Illinois and UMass, who just got obliterated by Missouri. Point being, it's hard to get much worse, and you have to go back to that 2020 season when they fired Eddie Grand because they couldn't pass the ball to a time where it was this bad through the year. And I think the point you made not only about the rushing attack, but also defensively, this was going to be a team we said in the preseason that needed to be able to score 27, 28 points a game to win. Like they should be fine in certain areas, but it's probably not the lockdown defenses that you've seen in the past. So you're going to have to be able to score a little bit more. And here's the thing too, Luckett, that I don't want, like, we can get caught in our own little bubble pretty easily. But like, if you just get out of the bubble and look around, like, it shouldn't be this hard to throw the football or score 27 points. Like, there's teams that do it every weekend, right? Like, it's not, I think I'm taking crazy pills, like we're asking too much, but you're really not. Like a lot of teams find ways to win games by scoring 27, 28 points a game and throwing for 230 yards. You're not asking to move a mountain here. You just need some competence, and there's a real lack of it. And it's like, where do you find anything? Like, where do you, like, what? And we talked about that on the football podcast on Monday, but it's like, how do you try to find any sort of layups in this passing attack that can give you a chance? And I don't know that answer to that question too, because I think the more I go along too, the more I worry that, like, hey, the offensive line's better, but Cutter still got sacked 6 times against South Carolina.
Yeah, some of them were on Cutter, but yeah,
right.
Some of them got again. Clayton White killed him. Like I bring it up every year, but like the one scoop and score for Dylan Stewart, he knows they're gonna go slide protection. It's the first 3rd and long of the game. They slide right to Dylan Stewart. What does he do? Run Stewart on a twist.
Yep.
And gets him a free runner. Like, it was a great, I thought, defensive call.
Yep.
By him. And so, yeah, again, they get in the game with him and they can't figure it out on offense. This is now, they scored 6 touchdowns in 5 games against that guy. They can't figure him out. He's a massive problem in the series. He owns the series more than Beamer. I mean, we all get stuck in the Beamer. They have won these games because of their defense and because of Clayton White, their defensive coordinator. How many they've scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, Nick. Kentucky scored 6 in 5 games against them. He's almost caught them. Like, he's almost beaten them by himself. So, yeah.
Well, my point with the pressure, too, is that, like, Dylan Stewart's clearly awesome. We know that. But, like, their front and Ole Miss's, it's average to above average in the league. This one they got coming up against Georgia, a lot of the questions they have right now about this team is the lack of pressure, right? Like, there's a lot of Kirby Smart in this team, but it's different because it's not as good in some areas. I think they have 5 total sacks.
Yes, I think that's right.
And then Ty Simpson, I took out the stats, but he had something like 8 incompletions, and 5 of those he was under pressure. So, like, if they were able to actually get pressure, then they put themselves in a good chance, but they couldn't. And my fear in this game and in many others is that Kentucky's going to be the antidote for what ails you. And whether it's the pass rush this week for Georgia or the run defense when they play Tennessee in a couple weeks, or, if Arch is still in a funk by the time he gets here, maybe it's that, right? Like, the snowball, it started moving downhill in that second quarter. And what was the conversation all offseason? We got to be a team that leans on each other, that can withstand adversity. And boy, did they not do that on Saturday. And how many Saturdays will they be able to do it?
Yeah, again, the disaster scenario is basically 0-8 in the league. You look up, you go 2 months without winning a football game, essentially. That's all in play. And it's hard to see them winning. It's hard to see them beating anyone, Nick, because they cannot score. Like, the defense has got to play better, but they cannot score. Like, you're going to have to score 21 offensive points to win a game. Now they did it against Ole Miss. It's why they had a chance to do it. But they got spotted 10 by the defense.
Yeah. Gave them layups, short fields. I mean,
and then every other drive, how many times they go 3 and out against Ole Miss? It was a ton.
It was like 4 out of 6 possessions they did.
Yeah. It was like they went 3 and out or they had a scoring opportunity.
And here's the part, too. Like you mentioned, defense needs to be better. Kentucky's average starting field position is their own 34. It's the 4th best in college football. 4th best in college football. And they're also, like, getting manageable third down situations. They're
right.
15th.
Dante Dowdell is a perfect 7 for 7 on 3rd and short carries, which we talked about was a massive issue for the offense last year. Problem is we haven't seen them get in the red zone a ton. They've really played 2 games. So they've had 7 red zone possessions. They scored touchdowns on 3 of them. So that was a big issue our full season. We really haven't seen that played out. But if you look at the team, they have fixed some of their problems from last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, offensive line is better. Legitimately, it's better. I think it's a solid to good offensive line. I don't think it's not a Joe Moore Award finalist like they had here for 4 years in a row or whatever. But it's a good offensive line. The running backs are better. No doubt. They're in a better position at tailback. Seth McGowan is on pace for 1,000 yards. If he stays healthy, I'm betting he gets 1,000 yards this season. So they have established the number one thing they want to do. And I think even the front on defense, they've invest in the trenches, rebuild that way, inside out. I think they even did that on the defensive front. David Gusta, Myquise Humphrey-Grace, Sam Green, Cam Olds, Tavian Gatson is a young player you've kind of developed. All of these guys, I think, are playing good football. But again, it's the self-inflicted mistakes, specifically, mainly on offense. It's just the total inability to throw the ball, like a lack of ability to throw the ball. And then defensively, Nick, the strength of the team is letting them down. The secondary is not playing good enough.
No.
I think in this past game, they played mostly okay. I think safety play could have been better in this game. But they've given up over 500 yards after the catch this year. They're over, and they gave up by 1,100 or so 2020. They're over half the way there, the total they gave up last year through 4 games this year. And they've only played 2 power conference games to this point. Like, South Carolina, they had 149, I believe, passing yards. 100 came after the catch. And over half of those were the one, that Vandrevius Jacobs catches a 12-yard pass and turns it into a 53, 54-yard, or I think a 59-yard gain. Yeah, 60-yard gain. So they're giving up way too many yards after the catch. That was the biggest issue against Ole Miss. It still remaining an issue. One of the second biggest pass play of the game, it's first play of the third quarter, that little bootleg flat tight end gets like 15, 20 yards. They're just giving up way too many yards after the catch. And that's where I think Mark Stoops, when he was talking about on defense, maybe we need to switch some things up. And to me, he was saying, well, we can't just be giving up all these yards. Maybe we're just going to have to play more, tight coverage. And we got to win on third down. 10 of 19, South Carolina wants on third and fourth down on offense. Like, you got to get off the field. And meanwhile, Kentucky couldn't do anything on third or fourth down on offense. So, yeah, things are great.
15 whole minutes of everything that's bad.
Yeah, to me, it's like, okay, take a step back. Where do they maximize? Okay. After playing an Ole Miss game where they were determined to just take shots, right? Like, we're going to be aggressive, try to hit vertical passes. Then it became a game where we couldn't, we had to be ultra conservative, which I understand with your young quarterback on the road. But I still feel like they've got a little bit of an identity problem on offense. And most of it comes down to, like, if you're going to play the style of football Kentucky wants to play, you have to be good as a play action pass operation.
Well,
they're not.
That's the part that also doesn't make sense to me, is why it's not more of a, why they aren't doing it, like from a very just basic standpoint. How come you are not play action passing? Because I'm trying to even think about it, and
I'll pull up the numbers right here.
I got it right now too. Play action, 19 dropbacks compared to 42 just straight dropback passes. You think that it would be, it's 70-30. You think it would be closer to 50-50 when you're running the ball as much as they are.
I mean, let's see what Calzada is here.
And also, wouldn't you, like,
Calzada is about the same, 75 to 20 or 76 to 24.
I know that you might have some offensive, initially might have had some offensive line concerns about them holding up on those longer plays, but your receivers are much worse. And if you make the DBs think for a second that they got to defend the run, then you'd be more likely to get them open. Right? I'm not taking crazy pills here. That feels like a very basic thing to add to the offense that just is pretty non-existent. Let's see here. I bet a lot of those shots, too, are off of play action because they're 7 of 18 completion percentage. At least Boley is.
Yeah, look at the A dot off the play action would be the
20 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So, they're just play action and then only using it to take shots. So, I don't know. I feel we joke with Drew about it, but watching your Bengals the other night in that offense.
I'm watching the same football. Just except the Bengals can't run the ball.
Yeah, and the Bengals, too, your franchise quarterback got hurt. There's a reason why things aren't working.
Yeah, but it's also it's a weird thing because most of the Bengals conversation is driven around the coaching, not necessarily. I mean, there is some conversation about how they built the team, but
the offensive line struggling and all that too.
Right, and there's they have a flawed roster, so if you wanted to get into it, I think that's a big talk. But more so, it's just the coaching. How is this the plan? Why is this the plan? Your plan's not working. You have no counters.
Joe Brady. I already saw one Bengals fan. He's ready to bring Joe Brady, make it party like it's 19.
Yeah, so I wonder, back to Kentucky. Let's not talk about the Bengals. I got enough stuff going on. I wonder, back at Kentucky, Stoops has never made an offensive coordinator change in season.
No. He would what was the line he would use? During Eddie's, it was, we're professional about it. He's got a job to do. But there was some sort of line, basically telling us that Eddie was getting fired, but he was going to be professional about it and let him finish the job.
Yeah. But this is the most heat he's ever had on him. And most of the heat is even when people are complaining about the offense, they're just complaining about Stoops. So I wonder if I don't know. I just don't know how they handle it. Do they just would they even consider making some type of change if it ever got bad enough? I don't know. Because I think that's what people are asking and wondering. So I don't know.
You already I don't know if you said it anywhere. So you can mention why Kevin Barbet would be the guy if they did make a change.
Yeah, I just think I think having your general manager call your offensive plays is kind of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, and also he hasn't been coaching.
Yeah, so I don't even think that would be on the table. I know that's what everybody wants, but I don't think that. I think they brought
Kevin Barbet, former Mississippi State and Houston play caller
in App State, so he's got 3 legitimate years of play calling experience in recent. So 21 through 23.
Or even last year, right?
Yeah, he called plays at Houston.
Yeah,
last year. So and he's up there when they show the booth shots. He's right there with Hamden, he's up in the booth.
I appreciated. I guess Dusty Bonner called in the KSR and said they need to hire a big name offensive coordinator, and I think a lot of people got a real kick out of that because
I listened to that, and I think the point Dusty was trying to make overall, because yes, people did hammer him for that.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't fire Stoops. Let's play the scenario out, which that's a loaded. Everyone's having his opinions on this.
Yes.
And we talked about this.
For the scenario's sake, though.
But let's play this scenario.
Yeah.
If Stoops stays, he's got to try something else on offense. You cannot run back out this kind of pro style, melting pot you're in right now. You have got to try something different. And you've got to maybe take a swing. So you've got to either hire someone like a Bobby Petrino, or you've got to say, we're doing the tempo thing and we're doing a real college spread offense. And we're trying it out and we'll see if it works. So you got to go get someone in that kind of realm. So I think that's what you would have to do. So in a way, that's kind of what Dusty was saying. That's kind of how I took it. But again, where this is heading, because let's just be honest, Bush Hamden's tenure is not trending in the right direction.
Right.
It hasn't trended in the right direction really since week 2 last year in South Carolina. It's been a disaster since then. We're going to be honest. So eventually, they're going to have to probably separate. So how do they handle that? Would they ever consider in season? Because that to me becomes Stoops is not getting fired during the year. Even if Kentucky moved on him, it's not going to happen. They would have to meet to even discuss if it's if it's even feasible for them to. Because it's money they're going to have to negotiate.
Yeah. Well, I could see it's the Louisville week and it's Sunday night, and Mark Stoops has agreed to step down at the end of the season. Blah blah blah.
Next week's the bye week. There's gonna be some conversations had. Would be my hunch.
My big thing though, just with the offensive coordinator point in general, that I think has really put Stoops in a bind more so than anything, is that Bush is taking heat. But when Dusty Bonner said that, the immediate response by the most passionate Kentucky football fans was, it doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. It's Mark Stoops' offense. And here's the thing.
There's validity to that.
Yeah, there's validity to it. And he will say, well, I don't have anything to do with it. But for better, there's a saying, and I don't really know the right words, but perception is reality. I think that's the saying. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Is that the only time you've had competent offense here, it was when you had a guy who was a plus 500 coach at West Virginia in Neil Brown, and a dude who's an NFL coach. Eddie Granz was pretty darn good too. He was a 30-year vet in the industry. Oh, and one of your failures that you fired after a year has a chance of coaching back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners in Miami.
He's going to be a head coach in college football next year.
There's just a lot of just stank to it that there is very little trust that even if Kentucky did hire the next Joe Brady, that he could do anything. And I think that's going to be the hardest part to overcome in all of this. And saying I don't call the plays isn't going to reassure fans at all. Now, what could help it is if you were able to score some points.
Yeah.
And Cutter Boley looked good.
Yeah, that's the whole season to me.
And
but
that's
now,
why
shift into that. Yeah.
And that's why hammering that button earlier than you wanted to, like that makes it so much harder, because really, if things went according to plan, like even if it was bad, you could wait till after Georgia or something, right? In the second bye week, you do this. But now, like you might be sinking before you can swim, or even give yourself a chance to swim, because Boley's turnover prone, and they aren't really helping him out without a lot of play action, making him throw it on 3rd and long. Like there's still and it goes back to that Ole Miss game with him taking all the shots, like an unwillingness to just turn around and hand the ball off 40 times. Like I know they were catching him on those first downs, but like, damn, what is better than turning it over? Like I watched the Bengals and Broncos commit a bunch of penalties, and then they dump it off for a screen and at least make it 3rd and 6, right? Like they gave themselves a chance. Kentucky just hasn't. They have not been giving themselves any chances to move the football at all.
Yeah, I think with this is a big topic. I think moving forward, like they almost have to chase completions with Cutter Boley, specifically in this Georgia game.
Which they were doing the opposite previously. It was like, well, if we just hit on 3 big shots, then we're good. The rest is fine.
Because I think by design, if you're drawing up the offense on the whiteboard and you're putting it down in a binder or whatever, the design of this offense is run, play action shot, hit over the top. That would be kind of the design of the offense. Hit big plays in the passing game and really hammer teams with the run. But they've got a young quarterback. Macklin is a good deep ball runner, Nick, but he's not winning. I wouldn't say he's going to win all the time. But when he wins, you can connect on him. Like when he wins like he did against South Carolina, you got to hit him. Mm-hmm. That was a close miss. But I think for Cutter, you just got to – they got to get the ball out of his hands, like right now, and get him more comfortable and get him used to, I think, the speed of the game. Because I think a lot of his issues are just come from him holding the football. Ball just gets sticky.
Stoops mentioned that in one of his things about getting to where the ball needs to be right now.
Yeah, and again, he talked about coaching and knowing, like, all right, pressure's here. Where is your check down? Because on a couple of those, I believe, sacks or interceptions, they had the back was open. One was Dowdell, one was McGowan. Like, you just gotta just take if no one's first read's not. Even Jordan Rogers talked about it because one of his scrambles, he was like, that was his best play of the night. First read wasn't there, just move. Gets positive yards. Just build some confidence. So yeah, all right. The bowl game, our just get to Birmingham scenario is out the window. I don't think we're going to be going to Birmingham. You might be going, but I won't be going with you because you'll be going to see your sister, not to go for work. That's off the table. The rest of the year to me is it's finding out if Cutter Boley can be a long-term starting quarterback here. That's what the rest of this year is about. So he's got free run here. You're all in on him. And then you just got to, I think, try to slowly bring him along. And I think in theory that their plan was kind of working against South Carolina. And then they go true drop back, 3rd and 7, sack fumble, scoop and score. And then the next time he throws it is a, unfortunate kind of interception on RPO glance that ends up being a pick 6. It just kind of ends up being disaster. So, like, this game specifically, you just got to, like, to me, just get some completions for him and just try to build some confidence that way and then see what you can do. the biggest weakness on Georgia's team right now, Nick, is their pass defense, but Kentucky's passing game is just a disaster right now.
Don't know how much of that is Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, and then Josh Heupel's offenses.
Right. Sure.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
know?
Mike, those numbers can be inflated. Yes.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm sorry. I thought about this Georgia game, and you think about the teeth of what you're going into down at Sanford Stadium. It's tough. It's a tough atmosphere to play in, too.
They're drawing the right time to go in there, though. Like, this is the time you want to go. Even though Georgia came off this loss, it's a nooner. Auburn's next week, which is a huge game always for them. Like, this is the time to play them. It's always going to be a tough challenge. This is the first time they've played a day game down there, Nick, I think since 2017. I think that was a 3:30. The last 21 was 3:30. But it's been like over a decade since they played a nooner down there. So, and in the Kirby Stoop style, maybe you can lull them into kind of this sleepy nooner. And if you win the turnover battle, maybe you can hang around for a while. But but the game is like with every game with Kentucky, it's going to be over as soon as Georgia scores 17 points.
Well,
unless Kentucky gets a defensive touchdown.
But
like number one goal, no defensive touchdowns for Georgia this week. Let's that's the step to take in the right direction. Let's no defensive touchdowns. And see if you can win or push on this turnover margin. Because I hear them talk, and I agree with this. They have to win the turnover battle to win games this year. Like, they've got to win in the margins. They've got to win on third down. They got to win turnover battle. They got to win red zone. They can't be -4. Can't be -4. They didn't even have a chance in these games.
All right, Luckett, I've got a proposition for you, though. What if I could tell you that you could be -20? -$20 off your ticket to go watch the Wildcats, huh?
Well, that's a good minus. That's like on the golf card.
Exactly. And you can get that with Game Time. I went to gametime.co. That's the online website. You can also just download the Game Time app where they've got super deals, flash deals. I'm seeing $30 off this ticket. You can get in for $124. Get-in price is $100. That includes fees. And that's what's great about Game Time, too. Not only do you see your seats, where they are in the stands, so you know your vantage point of the stadium, it includes all your fees, right? There's nothing worse than one of these terrible ticket brokers where you think you're paying one thing, then you go to check out. And look, at the fees at some of these, they just add like 20% to your total. And you're like, whoa. I wasn't planning on doing this. You're not going to get any surprises with Game Time. It's the best ticketing app out there. And when you use promo code on3, yeah, on3. Some of them are KSR, some of them are on3. We're using promo code at on3, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase at Game Time. Terms apply. That's promo code on3. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase, whether you're going to Sanford Stadium to watch a game, whether you're going to Bowling Green, whether you're going to the Don't Call Me Fed Cred, Rocky Top, or going to an NFL game. Little Bengals Steelers is right around the corner like it. We might have to download the Game Time app for that. I'm sure you'd be thrilled to watch that next to a Steelers fan.
Going to Bengals Jets end of the month.
Oh, might have a chance there.
That could be quite the record game at that point in the year.
Oh, just swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today to get the best tickets in the business with Game Time. Gosh, Bengals Jets. Whew. Slobber knocker. All right, that is something that's worth asking, worth exploring. Because I don't think a lot of people, I mean, if you recall, Kentucky gets whiplashed by South Carolina, and they play a duddy team, and then you return home for Georgia game at night, and really played them to a draw for the most part. Kentucky's up 3-0. They had the pick six that's overturned, would have really changed the dynamic of that game. But Georgia gets a touchdown in the third quarter. Cats claw back 12-13. Stoops ends up punting it, but the defense isn't able to get that 3-and-out to get the ball back to go try win the game. It's not the only slobber knocker. Kentucky, I don't know if you pulled the ATS numbers yet in this series.
I've got some interesting numbers.
Okay, but it does feel like that. Styles make fights, and Kirby, he appreciates this sort of style. He's always complimentary of Stoops, which we'll get to in a minute. But the styles make fights, so I guess there technically is a chance that this style could make a fight. Mr. Luckett, what stat do you have here?
Yeah, since Kentucky lost in the de facto SEC East Championship game in 2018, they're 5-1 against the spread in this number. The only loss was the 2023 game where there were 2 touchdown dogs and just got shellacked under the lights. That was like Beck's kind of coming out party, and Bowers was Brock Bowers.
That one pass he had, it was just like, damn.
It was, yeah.
That was game day too, right?
No, that would have been 21. 21 was game day.
Okay.
But that was a huge game at the time. Georgia hadn't
SEC Nation was there.
Georgia hadn't played that well to that point. It was a huge game. They just beat the hell out of Kentucky that night. But Kentucky's, they've covered in this series and played Georgia tough. Nick, Georgia in their last 16 games as a 20-plus point favorite. They are 0-16 against the spread.
They don't cover big numbers. I've tried and failed.
They do not.
Yeah.
Recently, as like a big 17-point favorite against Georgia Tech last year. Game goes into 78 overtimes.
Yep.
South Carolina was a 20-plus point favorite, I believe, last year down there week 2. Or no, 2 years down there week 2. They had a 14-3 lead at halftime. Kentucky, 22-point dog last year. We know how that game ended. They typically don't cover. They played Auburn last year, were a 21-point favorite, 130-113. But that game was 14-10 halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah, I remember watching that out in the parking lot.
So they play with their food a little bit in these games. And I think that's the scenario. And I think style of play, how Kentucky plays, and how Georgia plays. And Georgia's offense is struggling a little bit producing explosive plays. Like, that's been an issue for them. Now, the worry in this game is Zachariah Branch turning 8-yard passes into 78-yard touchdowns to me. Like, the yards after catch is concerning. But I think Kentucky's defense matches up well in this game. I just don't know once Georgia gets to a certain point total, it feels like the game could be over, and then that's where it could get away from Kentucky. But I definitely think they have a chance to hang around. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it's 10-7 at half, right?
Well, I think the other part of this equation too that
I want to see that, and I want to see the team how Kentucky plays from an effort and mentality standpoint.
Right, which is similar to the Florida-Texas game that's going to be Saturday night, where it's like, all right, how is Florida's defense reacting to all of this? Are they going to give Arch fits, or what's going to be the deal? That applies to Kentucky. I think the other part too, the big Kirby's 13-4 after a loss. And all of those except for championship game and playoff last year were in his first season, I want to say, back in 2016. So if you listen to him talk, which I'm not going to lie, I love me a good Kirby Smart press conference because he's like, it's a little bit more combative and kind of a fun. It feels like there's an art form to asking him questions, or he'll shut it down. Or if you try to act like Mr. Smart Guy, then he'll make fun of you, Mike Griffith. But his big message this week is coaches say that it's good to learn from every game, win or loss. Sometimes it's good that we get to learn from a win. Kirby's more I'm glad I got their attention. They might just come out and play we got by the skin of our teeth against Tennessee.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And then, you thought you were hot stuff because you won on the road in the shootout? Well, you dug yourself into a hole and you couldn't get out of it because you dug too deep of a hole. Now go whip somebody's ass. That's the part where, because especially defensively, because I forgot the exact stat, but essentially I want to say 55 of their 85 scholarship players are freshmen and sophomores, and a lot of them are playing on defense. Sands CJ Allen, they play a good amount of young players where they're all former 5-stars. Don't get me wrong, they're talented, but the light switch might not necessarily be turning all the way on. And that's the part that I worry about is that to do the Scott Van Pelt aggression. Like I worry that there might be like a jolt of just they figure it out, similar to that 2023 game, and you don't stand a freaking chance, right? Like you just walk directly into that buzzsaw.
In that scenario, it will look like Kentucky maybe let go of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
And then that opens up a whole other can of worms, because then it would be like, well, did you lose the locker room again? Like you lost the locker room 2 years in a row. So that's interesting. I would like to be a mind reader and know what's going on in Mark Stoops' brain right now.
Oh, the joke would be it'd be the monkey with the smashing symbols together. Well, Kirby at least said that like we should appreciate Stoops. He's a real good coach.
I appreciate that, and I think he's mostly being true with that. But that's what John Calipari said about Mark Fox.
Yeah. So the direct quote.
That's what coaches say about guys they beat all the time. Like, yeah. I agree that they're probably pretty good friends. They've been doing it a long time, so they've been going to those meetings for a decade. They've both sitting there.
They're similar, right?
The birds of a feather. Yeah.
Kirby said that, longtime DC coach's son.
Yeah, they had similar paths. Yes.
So like he's gonna throw his friend a bone and say it's really amazing what he's done at Kentucky. I just hope they appreciate what he's done, because he's done some incredible things, broken records up there, been extremely competitive in our league. It's not necessarily by record. I mean, it is by record sometimes, but the games that he's been in and the way they've played is incredible. You could tell he inspires his team to play extremely hard, and they're always physical. And you're right about the Mark Fox Cal thing, because that's the first thing I thought of. It's like the bless his heart. He gets his team to play hard, and, they might make the tournament this year. They should make the tournament. Like he would do that whole grandstanding thing every year. He's got a good team. And then they beat the crap out of him. But that last part gets back to the point you made, is that you can tell he inspires his team to play extremely hard, and they're always physical. That's the crux of what this season was going to tell me. Like, do they play like a team with their hair on fire? They might not have enough talent, but are they scratching and clawing and staying in games? And through two of them, the answer is no. They weren't in that one at all in the second half of the South Carolina game. And the Ole Miss game, they did enough to give you some false hope, but it felt like they were outmanned and outgunned for 40 minutes.
That is my thing watching those two games.
Yeah.
Lenore Sellers, Nick, I kind of wrote it in a film review that's up now. He was awesome. Take the 4 turnovers out. They weren't beating him. They didn't have an answer for him. Dylan Stewart was a menace in that football game. Their best two players did the stuff I talk about all the time, which is just like in this league, you just got to have guys that go make plays. And that's what wins football games a lot of times. Yes, this is a team game, but you got to have game-changing plays. And Sellers and Stewart kind of made it. And for a full game, like Sellers, if push came to shove, he was just going to run the ball, and they were going to move down the field and score when they had to. Kentucky didn't. They couldn't stop it. So they couldn't stop them. The Ole Miss game, I left that game, Nick, feeling, okay, Kentucky can run the ball. This is true. I thought they played hard and together for all 4 quarters in that game. But you watched it kind of play out, and Ole Miss was just better. They just had better players, it felt like. That is the concern with their team, right? That was our biggest concern, I think, in the preseason.
Well,
and so you have to have a plan, and you have to have schematics, coaching, execution, something to overcome that. You got to win in the margins. And that's why I said at the beginning of the episode, there's red flags, because I think they had to know this as a staff. Like, we have to have a plan that works. And then their plan is just, it doesn't work. And then it's like they have all the middle 8 miscues. they have where they can't get lined up with all the motions. It's just like, and you said this in the past, they haven't felt like a really well coached football team in the last few years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I mean, you feel like it's playing out this year a little bit.
Oh yeah. And I think the question that nobody knows the answer to, us included, is just like, how does that play out? And then can they get the sham wow and spank it on the bottom and stop that leak? Like
Cutter. I mean, it comes back to me. Everything kind of comes back to Cutter Boley,
which is so much pressure on a guy who has always flashed some arm talent, but
who needed development. Yes.
Yeah. But he's been throwing picks since high school too. Like this is not, he kind of lives that way. He lives life on the edge of your seat. Is that the kind of guy that can get you there? It's a lot of pressure to put on one kid. A lot of pressure.
That's kind of where we're at, I think. Like this is I think what a lot of fans wanted is to play him, but they're going to have to go through. I think the team's going to have to go through some growing pains right now. And Nick, since Bush Hamden's been here, 17 touchdown passes, 20 interceptions, and they've started or played 5 quarterbacks. So like it's not even almost a Cutter thing. This has just been just the whole operation thing.
It's not great. Not great. It's probably not going to get any better down at Georgia. But hey, at least we're going to go enjoy Athens because Kentucky's not going to be back there till 29. So I guess that's one silver lining. If the Cats do get shellacked by the Dogs, then hey, at least we don't have to go back here for 4 more years.
They give them that. They give them a break there, but they're going to have to go to Tuscaloosa or Baton Rouge before.
Yeah. I did. One fun fact I learned. So they lost at night to Bama last weekend. It's their first night home loss since Morgan Newton and Randall Cobb went down there. And was it David Green threw a bunch of picks?
It was Joe Cox in that game. That was after David Green. That was after David Green and after Matthew Stafford.
So Stafford was after Green?
Yes. Okay. There was a quarterback, I think, in between.
But yeah, a bunch of picks. Kentucky got a kickoff return. Was it a kickoff return touchdown, or they forced a fumble off a kickoff?
They got a Monticello Allen forced a fumble.
Yeah, and they recovered it in like the red zone. Third quarter
kickoff, and then
Eric
Clark had a screen, busted a screen 75 yards.
Yeah. So, moral of the story: if we want to see a win on Saturday,
Georgia had 4 turnovers in that game. That was kind of, I think they had 2 in the red zone. So that's kind of how Kentucky. It was like explosive plays and turnover margin is how they won that game.
Sound familiar? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky.
Gunnar Stockton, throw it over here to the guy in the white jersey.
I believe Kentucky scored 3 or more offensive touchdowns in that game.
That's true. Even if it was, some short field stuff, you got to score touchdowns. You can't kick field goals. And that reminded me of was the year C.J. Conrad got hurt down there, maybe 17?
Yes.
Where
it was
Josh
a big game,
Allen did Josh Allen have a pick?
Yes, early in the football game. Yes.
Yeah, and they kick a field goal instead of score a touchdown, and then they got another chance, and C.J. gets hurt. Justin Rigg drops a pass.
Yeah, they hung around there for a little bit, and then Michelle and Chubb just ran wild in the late third and early in fourth quarter. So it was like a 14-13 or 21-13 game for a long time, and then those 2 NFL backs just went off.
Best Georgia running back since 2000.
You're looking at Gurley and Chubb. I would say Chubb. Like, were you just talking college or overall?
Just college.
Chubb. Because Chubb's about as good as I've seen college.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Swift had his moments.
He had moments, but he wasn't like Chubb right away was like, oh, this dude is different.
And he was the ultimate. They didn't have to give it to him 30 times, but they could have, and he just would have
He ran for
Getting 5 yards to carry.
He ran for 4 miles against Louisville and Ty Grantham in the Belk Bowl. Literally. How sweet that had to be for Georgia fans. Like, not a great year playing Grantham in this bowl game. You know, none of them like Grantham. And,
Oh yeah,
like this local back who everyone loves,
right.
just runs for 300 yards.
Grantham
Breaks like 30 tackles.
The fact that Grantham got back into coaching only to get pretty much immediately fired at Oklahoma State. So this was his first year, right?
Yeah. So he got, December, January. So 9 months of work, essentially. Now he gets to go to his beach house. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a heck of a racket. I'd like to be a part of that one. So you got the unique deal here where you're going down early to scout out Athens.
I am. We're making a whole big week of it. In-laws are going to the game.
Well, our wives are teachers. Did JCPS always give them a week off for fall break?
I don't know. I don't pay attention. It was something like that, I guess.
All these people at my house during the day. I'm just like, what are y'all doing here? Oh, fall break. I don't remember getting fall break when I was a kid. I don't want a week. You just started school and you get a week off? That freaking rocks.
Yeah, it feels like they did just start, but yeah. That's kind of why they planned it for this one. So should be a good time. Taking the boys. You get to hang out. Florida Doug.
Oh man. It's always
we're gonna have a good time.
I'm just hoping we're not feeling it too much Saturday morning.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
I might have a Reds game 3 on that Friday night. So that could be I'll be in rare form.
I'm banking on a Reds game 3. But just the most gut-wrenching, like, because they're going to maximize pain,
Blow a 4-1 lead in the 8th or something. Game 3.
Yeah. Like, I had 2 roommates from Cincinnati, and that was at what 14 or 13 whenever they were hadn't lost a home series all year, and they got 3 at home and just lose 3 straight right off the jump to the Giants.
Yeah, I believe that was 13. 13 or 12. I think it might have been 12.
Well, they had NLCS.
It was 12. It was 12, and then 13 they lost in the wild card to the Pirates.
I mean, they had NLCS tickets and everything. Like, dads came down. They all made like Skyline chili dip to watch the games. Like the energy in the house was electric, and then it just like a letting the air out of the balloon, and it sounds like a wet fart, man.
Yeah, it sucked. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it was very fun.
Well, who knows? Maybe they do the unthinkable. Are the Dodgers the World Series favorites on BetMGM?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, let's
look it up.
Yeah, let's take a gander. Admittedly,
Dodgers are the biggest favorite in this round. You have to lay $2 to win $1 or minus 200.
Phillies are our favorite.
Yeah, that's right. They're the best.
Plus 450, Dodgers 500, Mariners plus 550.
What are the Blue Jays?
7-1.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the pitching, but they absolutely rake. And the Reds are last, pretty sure.
It'd be fun to see the big dumper in the World Series. Love me some Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, Tigers up 2-1. Well, we're recording on Wednesday.
Yeah, we are recording early. I had to get ahead of it so Luckett can scout out all the scenes in Athens.
It'll be my wife's first time on Clayton Street, so.
Yeah,
I told her she's gonna have a good time. It's a fun place.
I'm looking forward to seeing Taylor because it'll be a good time.
Yeah, and then we'll see what happens with Kentucky football between the hedges Saturday. Interesting time. Very interested to see how this game just plays out, because if it's a disaster again, like how do they?
Right, like how many disasters can you withstand?
Right.
Till
you do something.
Right. Like the waves are going to keep hitting. When's that levee going to break?
It's a statement from Mitch Barnhart or, like a statement from Stoops or something where you're kind of acknowledging like, hey, we know this is a disaster. So we're right.
You
don't have to focus with a stick.
it's just been this team is good. We're good still. Like that's what they've been doing. How long can they keep doing that, you know?
Well, I mean, their strategy would be not to say anything.
No, this is a good team. Yeah, this is a good football team. They just keep getting their ass kicked. But hell, who knows? Maybe they do make a bunch of turnovers. Todd Bryant can score 14 points for him. Anything's possible in the SEC where things can get a little wonky. We'll be down there for the noon kickoff on ABC, Kentucky at Georgia. Cats are 20.5-point dogs on BetMGM. We'll see you between the hedges. He's Adam Luckett. I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.